And we're back with Tea Time Disc Golf. This is Steve Bro with Devin Frederick.
How's it going, everybody?
This is the 2018 Lost Valley Open. First round was played at Knockmixon State Park, which is just across the lake, and we are introducing the Preserve at AGA to you in the second round of the Lost Valley Open. This is going to be part one. We're going to have some great guys to follow here. We've got a tight race. Steve Brinster shot a really good round over at Knockmixon at 10 down, which is fantastic over there because that is such a demanding course.
Yeah, tight and technical over there. We got Kyle at 8 down, and then Dylan and Dustin Keegan tied at 7 down.
Yeah, for the C tier that we're running here, we had quite a spread of pros, over 50 pros from all over the country. Dustin Keegan representing Oregon, Kyle Moriarty representing Massachusetts, Steve Brinster out of Warwick, New York, and good old Dylan Horst is representing the state of Pennsylvania here on this lead card action that we're going to provide for you guys. Hole number one, probably a hole that these guys step up to and say we want to get. It's not that demanding of a par 4. You just got to put your tee shot in the right place, and then you're going to have a pretty easy up and down to get your birdie. I guess the equation is getting off the tee here.
Yeah, anything off to the right, and that is a natural OB. It is thick. It's a jungle. You're just trying to get back out to the fairway. So definitely want to hit the gap, fade out to the left. I feel the farther up the hill you get, the less of an angle it is into this tucked green.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you do have some low-hanging branches over there on the left-hand side that'll prevent an easy upshot. But pretty much if you get yourself in the middle of the fairway, you've got a nice flick, you've got a nice turnover putter to the basket, where these guys should anticipate getting their birdies. So let's see how these guys navigate the first hole. Here's Steve. You can see the towel down to prevent him from slipping. He pulls it a little bit to the right, but came down back in the middle.
Yeah, he'll still have a long up and down, but birdie's not out of the question.
And Kyle taking that high left route, hoping to get something through these branches, but he did clip that top branch. He dropped down in the middle, which was nice.
Yeah, and that's one of the tough parts of this hole. You're trying to go over the Christmas trees, but yet get under the branches of that tree.
Here's Dylan taking the flick route. He's lucky he caught that branch because that was probably going to end up in that right mess that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, I left him right in the middle of the fairway, so he's still in position to be able to attack a birdie.
Dustin with a good controlled shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a little spike flick shot from there.
Here's Steve throwing it just low. He is going to not be happy with that because that's not going to give him a good opportunity for the birdie. He's still going to be, he left himself at least 85, 90 feet from the basket from there.
So yeah, and most likely he'll just be trying to lay up. You're running that, and you can find yourself into the thick stuff behind the basket.
And here's Dylan. Dylan gave that a little bit too much. He's going to end up long, and that is going to be a tough putt back at that basket.
Yeah, there's a lot of low-hanging branches. He's probably going to have to get down on a knee.
Kyle with a good-looking shot. Let's see if he can keep it on the short grass, and he does. So he's going to be well inside the circle for a good putt. And here's Dustin. Dustin's going to go forehand as well.
Yeah, just a little chip-up putter shot. He shouldn't have a problem with this.
He says, uh-oh, out of his hand, which means that it's going deep. There is a creek back there that is casual, so you can take relief behind it if you need to. Steve just pitching one up there. He's going to walk away with his par. Dylan just couldn't get that high enough going with those low-hanging branches, so he's going to concede his par as well. Dustin from back where that water is, giving this a run.
And just a little wide.
Yep, so he'll have that for his par, and it looks like he did play a provisional here, and we'll see whether or not it would have changed the score, but his first shot is what he's going to end up playing.
Yeah, makes good on that.
Yeah, regardless, whether or not it was in or out, he would have gotten his 4 anyway.
Here's Kyle for his birdie.
And Kyle just tickling the chains, does not connect, and that's unfortunate because that was a really good upshot from Kyle to put himself in position to be able to get the birdie. Dustin's going to tap in his par, and the rest of these guys are going to do the same.
So yeah, that's probably just a little lead card, second round jitters out of Kyle there. So
Not the best way you wanted to start. We at least expected to see one person on the lead card birdieing this hole to start the round, and we get to see Dustin's fantastic putt that doesn't count.
Worth a slow-mo, though.
It is. So the scores are going to remain the same going into hole number 2. So we still have Steve at 10 down. This is a demanding hole. This is uphill. It marks 370 feet, plays more like 400. Going up and over these cornfields is certainly a big hyzer shot that you can play. There is OB on the right-hand side in the cornfields. If you end up on the left in the Christmas trees, you might have a tricky putt back at it. Pretty straightforward shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in front of you. This is one that you feel like you can get.
Steve
Playing
ripping one up over the cornfields, coming back into the middle, but he's still going to leave himself, it looks like, just about circle's edge there.
But yeah, he has a look. He should be able to convert on that.
Yep. Kyle, that is leaking a little bit too far to the right. He is going to catch the cornfield and go out of bounds, unfortunately.
And yeah, that's going to be a tough spot because he's going to be tucked behind the corn a little bit and probably won't really have a look at the basket.
No, he won't be able to see the basket where he's playing that.
Dylan playing the big forehand hyzer out over the Christmas trees. Smart play. You're taking the OB out of it.
But he left himself way too far to the left, though. He's going to have a very tough birdie opportunity. Dustin taking the hyzer shot.
That's looking really good.
He's going to end up right at circle's edge again on the left-hand side, so he's going to have a decent putt for the birdie as well.
And here you can see Kyle's tucked behind that corner a little bit. Maybe give it a small run on the ante. And just couldn't get it to turn over enough.
Dylan with a tricky putt, but gave it a good bid.
Yeah, you can see how those Christmas trees can play with you. You can see the tops growing right up where his typical line would be, having to go a little higher than he wanted.
Mm-hmm. Steve not getting that in the air at all. So he's going to take another par on hole number 2.
And you can see it's kind of breezy out here, so these circle's edge putts were a little tough today.
At this part of the course, you're sitting up on top of the hill. There's not a whole lot happening up there, so you do get some prevailing winds that'll mess with your disc. As you can see, Dustin was trying to finesse that in, and it just kind of carried it left. Kyle's going to tap in for his bogey. These guys are going to clean up pars. They've been doing pumpkins and Christmas trees for years now out at AGA Farms. So during the season of October through basically January is their peak season. They have a ton of people out here, and for the past 2 years as we've been building this course, people have definitely been interested in what in the heck are these baskets out in the middle of your fields, and they've been great as far as promoting the sport and getting us to where we need to be. So Kyle's going to take the bogey. We do have a 10 down, Steve Brinster still. The rest of the guys are going to be sitting at 7 down, and we get up to hole number 3, which is it's a shorter par 3, but really demanding green area because you have all of these cornfields on the right and long of the basket are out of bounds.
And yeah, they're probably inside the circle on the corners there.
Very close, yeah.
And this basket sits up on a little bit of a mound and is slightly elevated too, so the green area is definitely tricky. So I'm guessing most of these guys are going to be turning over a mid-range, maybe a putter.
Yeah, Steve slipped off the tee pad there and kind of skied that up in the air. You don't see that very often, but he did mention, he said the one time I don't put down a towel, and he did slip on the front of the tee.
And this is another common play you'll see is the forehand.
Really good looking shot out of his hand.
And yeah, just left it a little wide again.
Yep. And Dustin's going to go with a flick as well here, a forehand shot as well.
And that's a great looking shot there.
Yeah, that's going to put him right where he wants to be, just short of the basket there.
Let's see if Kyle can follow suit. That's a good looking shot out of Kyle.
He's going to be inside the circle. That's going to be a good putt for him. It's just going to be an uphill putt.
And here we got about a 40-footer for Steve to the elevated basket.
Yeah, just never had it right enough. Looked like the height was good, but we'll see whether or not Dylan can connect here for birdie.
It's probably right around circle's edge. Just a little low.
Let's see what Kyle can do here. He's got a birdie putt as well.
And just a little high. So yeah, he'll be able to pick up a stroke on Steve here and hopefully get some momentum rolling.
Yeah, he'll move to 8 down, and the rest of the guys are going to stay where they were at 7 down, and Steve's going to stay at 10 down, which is going to keep him at a 2-stroke lead over Dustin. This is one of those par 3s, and you can see these Christmas trees right in front of where they're throwing these flick lines and stuff. Those Christmas trees grow a foot a year, so this hole is going to become more and more demanding off the tee as the years go by. Dustin getting the birdie, though, and the rest of these guys cleaning up their pars. So hole number 4, you've got a demanding tee shot because you got to keep something out to the right-hand side. You've got pumpkin patches and you've got cornfields that are OB on the left-hand side. If you keep something out and to the right and in this fairway, you've got a really good chance of getting something in this gap to be able to get the birdie. But this basket sits about 80 feet to 90 feet inside of where this tree line is, so it's if you get to that opening gap, you've got a long putt for birdie. You really want to punch something through there.
And yeah, I mean, it's slightly downhill to the initial gap that you have to hit with some low branches to the rest of the fairway being slightly uphill. So to get the distance you want off the drive's tough, and if you don't get far enough up there, it's hard to keep it low enough to get into the low ceiling to the basket.
Yeah, the safe shot is definitely going to be to play a flick shot off the tee if you're a right-handed, backhanded player. A lefty has a pretty good shot here as well because you're just playing to that safe side of the fairway over there on the right.
You can see Dustin just catching some of them low branches, doesn't let it turn over, and ends up OB over on the left in the cornfield.
Oh.
Steve really pulling something out, but that nose is up, and it looks like it's going to head right into the pumpkin patches that are short of the cornfields there.
And yeah, once again, he just caught some of them low branches, which pulled the nose up, and it didn't let the disc continue to turn over.
And here's what I was talking about with the safer of the shots. Dylan is throwing a good forehand, just nice and control. He's not trying to bite off too much, and he put himself in a good spot.
Yeah, right in the middle of the fairway. He cut half the hole or more down, so that's great.
And Kyle turning it over too much, but he is going to be in the middle of the fairway, so he's going to have a nice clean look at trying to get something into this gap. He's just got to throw something hard.
That's a good straight shot. Just have to hit the gap.
Really good looking shot out of Kyle.
That is an awesome shot from Kyle.
Yeah.
See if Steve can get it into the gap and get himself a putt.
It's not easy to hit. I mean, it is easy to leave it exactly where Steve is leaving it now and not to punch through. You know, and then you've got a tricky little shot to get up and down. Forget about making your birdie.
And Dylan's just getting a little high.
He's doing the same thing. He's leaving himself just short, and you're going to see how long of a putt that is when you actually get to where the gap is. He's still got a long look. Going with a flick shot and putting it almost exactly where Steve is.
Yeah, he had a little bit too much angle on that. I think he wanted a little flatter and let it glide into the gap. Wow. Great
Dylan,
putt by Dylan.
Fantastic birdie putt out of Dylan.
It's his swan that he likes to use for his long putts.
And Dustin going with a forehand touch shot. He should be able to get his bogey there.
And Steve was able to penetrate through the thick part and has a look.
Didn't get it on the right line. He knew out of his hand. And he will end up taking a bogey as well. Dustin with a little bit of work left here to get his bogey.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to double up on this hole.
Yeah, this isn't a hole you want to bogey, let alone double bogey.
No.
See if Kyle can make good on his birdie. A little bit of misfire out of Kyle.
That's extremely unfortunate. I feel bad for Kyle. I've done that so many times. And there Steve is going to take a bogey as well. And then Dustin is going to sit here and tap in this double bogey. I did not expect these guys to play this hole in that fashion. I thought that most of these guys were going to jam right through. Dylan showing you how to get the birdie the hard way, having to make a 85-foot putt, which was really good.
Yeah, it was a great looking putt. So Dylan picking up some strokes there, becomes one behind Steve. Steve dropped a stroke, goes to 9. Dylan's at 8, and the other two are at 6 now.
Yeah, Dustin dropping back to 3 strokes behind Steve. That's not what he wanted to do there. It's kind of time to pick it up a little bit and see what we can do. Hole number 5, very demanding tee shot. You want to throw a very controlled putter shot right here to this initial gap, and then you're going to have a second putter shot that goes out to where the green is. And it is a tough hole. Your landing zone on the tee shot is the most important part of this hole. And Dylan throwing it too hard, and he ended up catching the right-hand side. He's going to have a tough look. It's going to be very hard to sneak something through the woods. Now, Steve's showing you the controlled putter shot.
And that's just about perfect. Needs to check up a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to have a patent pendant, or he might be able to go through the inside lane there. There's a couple different options that he's going to have. Kyle, right out of his hand, I'm knowing that that is way too deep. He's going to be on the other side of that, and it is going to be tough to get up and down from there. Looks like Dustin's playing a putter shot, just a nice controlled putter shot. If he can leave it just short of Steve's, he's going to be in good shape. Yeah, that was a really good shot.
And Dylan's going to try and find something through the corner, which there's not much.
Yeah, he's put himself where he's going to still have a tricky up and down.
Yeah, but he got himself close enough to the edge where hopefully he can find a line to the basket.
So here's Dustin. Get off that stuff. And yeah, skipping up there nice.
And Steve lining up an inside gap.
Perfect. Great shot from Steve. He's going to be inside the circle.
Yeah, he should be able to pick up his birdie and start this round rolling.
And Kyle going inside, and yeah, that's what happens. Is as soon as you get aggressive on that inside line, you've got to be controlled with your tee shot. Really good shot from where he was, so he's going to be able to get up and down.
Yeah, he's going to be getting par the hard way, fighting through the corner.
And here's Kyle with that's Kyle's third shot, so now he's got a really tough putt just to save par here.
And just lets it leak a little left, and he's going to be looking at a 10-foot bogey putt.
Yep. Here's Dustin for birdie.
Nice
he played
putt.
the hole exactly the way that you're supposed to play the hole.
This is another one of those baskets where you can catch a little bit of breeze off that other farm across the way.
So Steve getting his birdie as well. Very nice.
He's probably happy to get a birdie finally. Feels
Probably.
like he left a lot out there already, I'm sure. Kyle finishing up.
Yeah, Kyle's going to get a bogey there. Dylan ended up with his par. What a great looking shot with the barn in the background and the soybeans. It's very picturesque here, very quiet. When you're out there playing by yourself, you don't hear anything. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome scene out there.
Yeah. Yeah, so after hole 5, we've got Steve is still going to be at 10 down. So he got one back there. We've got Dylan 2 back of him at 8 down, and not too far back off of him at 7 down is Dustin. So those guys are close. We got some action happening here. This is a shorter par 3, so one that you certainly want to get, this birdie, because it's only 280 feet, and you're basically just wrapping right around the corner.
So Steve with a nice rock shot. Just going a little too straight,
Yeah,
a little too long. But
he's going to struggle from there. That going deep is not going to give him a very good view of that basket.
nah, but he's still only 35, 40 feet, so he might be able to make something happen. It looks like a mid-range out of Dustin as well, and that's just
Yeah.
coming in a little early, and that's going to leave him a tough lie. And we got Dylan throwing his harp.
Looks like it's on a good line. It stood up nice for him, coming back to the basket, and yep.
And that's how you want to do it right there. And Kyle going to standstill, just trying to keep it nice and controlled in the fairway.
Almost
right
a
there.
really good shot out of Kyle, but really good tree to keep him right next to the basket there.
Looks like Dustin's going to try and poke something through the corner.
Yeah, he's going through, over, and in.
Wow.
Oh my God.
It went in. No chains at all, just kind of plopped right into the basket. So he's going to walk away with a birdie. That's great.
And Steve going a little long. He's going to try and cut through the corner as well with an Anheuser putt.
Just not quite enough. He's going to walk away. Kind of disappointed, obviously, with a par. With such a short hole, it's one that you can actually score on. Kyle for his birdie putt.
He cleans that up.
Yeah. And Dylan cannot capitalize. It just kind of spun right off of the rim there. Unfortunate for Dylan. He's going to end up taking a par when that should have been a birdie. So Kyle and Dustin ended up with their birdies. Steve just went a little bit deep there and ends up settling for par. You have Dustin and Dylan at 8 down and Steve still at 10 down. So we got 2 strokes here of separation. Hole number 7, one of my favorite holes on the course, is a nice fairway. It's an open fairway. You got to turn something left at about 325 feet to shoot out into this meadow that we planted out here, and then you're throwing a putter or a mid-range back into the woods again that we created here for the golf green. Certainly one of the signature holes out here. You just have to be clean off the tee box.
Yeah, you need to get to that corner, and anything short and there's no way you're cutting this corner. It's a jail, and anything long and you got a couple of trees and low branches in your way for your upshot to make it a little tricky.
Yep. And Dustin pulling that a little bit to the right. He's going to catch an early tree, and that is not what you want to see.
Yeah, right side's not so bad. He should be able to get out in the meadow. I don't think he'll be able to attack the basket and get a birdie.
And where Kyle is, it's a little bit more difficult to do anything because you are pinched off on that left-hand side. You don't have any sneaky gaps that you can hit over there to get out to the... You got to pretty much play back along the fairway.
This is a decent-looking shot out of Steve.
Just not enough. He needed...
One more tree to beat.
Let's see what Dylan can do.
That's flattening out nice.
Yep, and that's going to just go dead straight. So Dylan's going to have a little bit to deal with, but he's going to have the best look out of the bunch.
And yeah, you can see from where Dustin is, he can't get a line to the basket. He's just going to play a layup out in the meadow and give himself a putter up shot.
Kyle really having to manufacture a shot here.
You can see he almost had to go a little bit backwards and just try and get it out to the corner where you can see the basket.
Now Steve actually has a chance of putting something up there. With everything being as wet as it is, he's not going to get the skip that he wanted. And he's going to leave himself just about 50, 55 feet short of the basket. Dylan loves throwing forehands. I would expect to see this up near the basket somewhere. He loves throwing that harp, and it turned over a little bit on him, but he's still going to have a look.
Yeah, he'll be at that 45-50 range, so I'll have a long look at birdie. Kyle rolled a little bit long in the corner, had some of the shrubbery to deal with. Dustin with just a 120-foot putter shot, trying to get it into the green.
And Steve, not satisfied. He's going to end up taking a par.
See if Dylan can capitalize on his birdie opportunity.
He's got a look. He's got a good look, and he's right at circle's edge.
And pulls it a little wide.
Yeah, here's Dustin again, probably right at circle's edge, just inside. And his tough putt here. He really needs to save this 4 to keep himself at 8 down.
And that's a great putt, dead center. And here's Kyle to save his par.
Dylan ends up, with a par there. These guys, again, it's disappointing to see nobody taking advantage of a birdie on this hole. Because you expect somebody to hit that initial gap, and with these guys not getting off the tee the way that they needed to, it was difficult for them to actually have a chance at birdie. And you're seeing kind of the teeth of this course a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising seeing none of these guys get the birdie. It is a tough hole, but it's really just 2 simple shots will get you in position.
Right, yep. Yeah, so after hole number 7, Kyle taking the bogey, the rest of these guys taking pars. Steve Brinster still has a 2-stroke lead at 10 down. This is an easier par 4. Certainly one of the tweeners that were questioning what the par should be on this hole, because it probably should be a par 3, but with the scoring the way that it was, we'll see what the lead card can do, and then we'll see whether or not we're going to make that adjustment or not.
And yeah, after being in the woods for the last 3-4 holes, this is the first one you can step out and kind of unleash full power drive. The only thing you have to worry about is the cornfield on the left. So if you're throwing a hard anhyzer with something that's going to flex out late, you're going to be in good position. You can see Steve getting a nice flip up and glide.
Really good looking shot. He's going to have a pretty routine putter approach shot up to the basket here.
Dylan got his turned over a little too much. He's out in the meadow, so a little longer up shot, but very doable.
Kyle just ripping one out there with a really, really good shot.
Nice shot.
There's Kyle. Puts it right underneath the basket, so that is an easy 3. So we'll look at adjusting this a little bit. There's a little bit of room behind this basket to be able to move the basket location back. There's a little bit of room to the right where we could tuck it in a little bit and just make it a little bit more difficult. The green is extremely swampy, so moving this would not be the worst idea. But these guys are all going to clean up their birdies.
Yeah, I like what you're saying about moving the basket a little bit. Making you have to hit that gap and not have the basket just sitting right there in front of you.
Yeah, just make it a little bit more demanding for these guys. Possibly, moving the tee box up a little bit and turning it into a par 3 would be an option as well. I mean, that is a way to combat the issue of having a tweener hole. This hole is one of my favorite par 3s on the course. It's really either just a placement shot up here on the road, or you can really go aggressive and try to get over the OB onto the golf green. You just have to throw something overstable with a nice S-line to get it to come back to the left. Or if you're a lefty, you're throwing just a huge flick shot up there and trying to get something to flip, get up over here. The golf green is very fair. There's plenty of room within the circle there. You just have the OB to worry about. And Dustin flies long of the OB. He's going to have a little step out straddle putt to try to get birdies, but he's probably just outside the circle from where he is.
And I imagine Steve's trying to attack this one as well. And he's hanging it out a little bit to the right, catching some leaves.
Yeah, he's getting caught up a little bit, and it looks like he's going to find the out of bounds. But he did hit the rope there, and he was in bounds on this side, so he should be taking it closer to the basket, which is nice. And Dylan ripping one straight.
Slide, and
the natural terrain just pulls that disc right into the out of bounds. And here's Kyle. It looks like he's straightening that up enough to be safe, and he's going to have a long look for birdie.
Yeah, he'll have that 45-footer putting over the OB to the basket. That's a little bit uphill from where he is.
And Kyle with his birdie putt here.
Good height, but just not quite enough power.
Dylan to save his par.
And he's a little low once again.
Yeah, just not getting it up in the air. Yeah, he's going to take his par. And here is Steve. Steve, this is an important putt for Steve because this would put him back at 10 down if he doesn't make this. And, yeah, he flew it right over the top. So, it looks like Dustin's actually going to get a stroke on Steve here, and we're going to get this race is going to get a little bit tighter.
Steve making a good cleanup, and the rest of them should be doing that as well.
Yeah, Kyle giving it a decent run, but he's going to end up with his par. Dustin is going to get his par as well after a putt that he's probably looking at going, God, I could be tied right now. That could have been a two-stroke swing on Steve.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Dylan with the unfortunate roll into the OB will be cleaning up his bogey as well.
That's the front nine of the Preserve at AGA Farms. We've had a good card. We've had some good people to watch play golf out there. It is still a very tight battle. I mean, a one-stroke difference between Steve, Dustin, and Dylan. Only one stroke separating those guys right now. Steve with the bogey there, he's really got to pick it up here on the back nine because it looks like Dustin Keegan's starting to make a run. But we just want to give a big thank you to Dan Devery and the guys at AGA Farms, Tea Time Disc Golf with Austin and Christian and Lou and everything that they do. You're going to see some pretty cool coverage on part 2 of this video.
Thanks for coming out, everybody, and watching, and like and subscribe.
Yep, we will see you on part 2.